Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Mike Zakarian.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the NBA Bit. We typically don't start with 2 intro videos, but this morning was a special occasion, so I apologize. You're going to get one more intro video. We were leading with Team USA or LG Doucet or the first man. Absolutely not, dude. Steph Curry gets on stage, a little Paramore. Come on. Little Misery. How about that? We love to see it. Steph still doesn't miss, even if he was a little pitchy, as Patrick Coyne said. Welcome back to the NBA Bit. We are going to talk some USA basketball as they took on Puerto Rico last night. LG is going to be coming by in a little bit. And I don't know what's going to happen. We got Sneeps in the house. Jump shoot. Good morning. Snoop Loop letting us know it's Happy National Sneak Some Zucchini on Your Neighbor's Porch Day, which feels very specific. Also, throwback to those who might remember. My nickname growing up was Zucchini. Was it because of my last name or was it because of my wang? We'll never know. We got Jump Shoot in the house. We got the Common Man. All right. Pack Trips up in here. Stubbs here. Bottomine T-Man. Borland asking a really good question. Is LG short for Langston Galloway? We'll have to ask. Orion's here. We got We the People, the Captain, Patrick, Joshua's here. 3DH. Who else? Anybody else? Stan Love's in the house. Let's go. What is anybody? Did we get everybody? Boston base. We got everybody, baby. Hope everybody's having a good little day. Hope you had a nice Monday. Hope it's a nice start to the day on Tuesday. Yesterday was very chaotic for me and it shouldn't have been. So I'm looking forward to maybe a little bit more normalcy today. But I appreciate everyone being here. As always, like the stream, subscribe, join the Discord, click all of those links. I don't know. We've got the rest of the week, no NBA Bit tomorrow. However, we're back on Thursday and Friday. We might have some other spicy stuff drop tomorrow. Trying to get another So Rare video out this week. Hopefully recording it today, putting it out tomorrow. So that'll be fun. Sneeps, our man DJ Sneeps is going to be over on Playback tonight, which you can find a link for that in the show notes, as he is going to be streaming the drop tonight, the trade ticket drop happening on hashtag NBA Top Shot This, which is very cool. I saw we got a little $2 floor here. What is this? 2022? Trade ticket drop. I saw a bunch of mathematicians on Twitter yesterday trying to figure out how many trade tickets they needed, how many packs they could get, how many packs would be left, how many packs would be destroyed. Really fun watching everybody do that math. Nothing gets me off quite like mathematics. Boston base has lots of talks, but we need answers. How many packs? I don't know, man. I don't know how many packs. I have 80 trade tickets ready to go, and I think that's going to be it. As you know, it's Tuesday night, so your boys get a little trib action. So I'm not going to be super available as the drop is going down. I'm yelling timber. So I'm going to just have to, work with what I got, and that's going to be it. Over, under, Sneeps, we'll mention Bones tonight. It's going to set at 15, baby. It's set at 15. 500 plus Sneeps TSDs will be in packs today. There you go. I'm excited. Listen, people seem excited. I like that the vibe feels good. The vibe feels good for everybody. trading in that garbage for some lesser garbage, you know? And I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. You guys want to do some Team USA first? Hey, full disclosure. I was a sleepy boy last night. And I was excited. It was 9:55, turned on FS1. I was like, let's get into USA basketball. And then we had the League Cup going on, which I'll be honest, I forgot that was going on. And the New England Revolution, my hometown heroes, were playing that terrible pronunciation, cancel Zakarian, hashtag cancel Zakarian. And so yeah, I was like right into the penalties. It was penalties to advance into the semifinals, I believe. And they got smoked. They got smoked in PKs. They had 2 misses. The other team did not miss. And then we rolled right into Team USA. And I'll be honest. I fell asleep at halftime. I made it till halftime. I made it all the way to half. And then it was like 11 o'clock. I get sleepy, okay? We the people said I missed the FOMO days. Nowadays, I just watch y'all go crazy over this stuff. That's probably the healthier way to do it. Talking about Top Shot. Almost dropped my glasses there. My first takeaway from last night's performance. Actually, first I will say USA won. What was the final score? 117-74. Ant-Man and Cam Johnson both led the way with 15. I believe they had 7 in double digits last night, right? So those two dropped 15. You had Mikal Bridges with 14. Triple J dropped 12. Brunson with 11. Brunson also had 12 boards. Bobby Portis and Ingram each dropped 11. And then Halliburton finished with 12 assists, which they had a 53-27 rebounding edge. So that's the overall gist. That's the box score, if you will, of last night's game, in case you didn't stay up and watch. However, what I noticed in the first quarter was Tremont Waters, get that man a 10-day contract. That might be my Boston biases kicking in a little bit here, but Tremont Waters looked like the fastest man in the history of basketball last night. Slicing and dicing, running all up on there. Kept them close. I believe he had 17, 12 in the first half. And it was a little dicey there in the first. You could feel a little USA rust. Also, speaking of USA, I believe this is the anniversary of the 92 Dream Team biting into that gold medal. So, hey, congrats, Team USA. But it did feel a little spicy last night. Oh, one thing I didn't realize or didn't know and still don't know, so maybe you know. Do you know where that game was played yesterday? I couldn't figure out where that game was played by watching it. I saw the MGM was sponsoring it. Or they were sponsoring the court. I don't know what they were sponsoring. But dude, Puerto Rico held tough early. Tremont Waters running around. He was, and you could feel like USA seemed a little tight. The first bucket, it was in Vegas. Thank you, Portland. First bucket of the game, Jaren Jackson Jr. puts a body into somebody. I think it was Howard. I forget who it was. Lays it in easily. It was 2-0, and I was like, okay, these are big men. These are big men taking up Puerto Rico, and that's going to be a wrap for them. And then again, Waters got cooking, and USA couldn't really put down a bucket. And then all of a sudden, USA got into a rhythm. And you want to know when that started? It started with 3:14 left in the first quarter. And AR-15, Austin Reeves from the Los Angeles Lakers, the worst fan base in the history of sports, he just checks in. They pan over to his mom fixing her hair. She can't believe what's happening. Her son's playing for America. Ant-Man gets the ball, dishes it into the corner. Reeves, bucket. Reeves was hot in the first half. And honestly, U.S. might have been, because I think they were up 7 or 8 going into halftime. They might have been straight up losing if it wasn't for Austin Reeves in that first half. He was cooking. And then Ant-Man did his thing. I got to say, even though Ant-Man only had 15, Anthony Edwards had a couple of moves early in that first half where it's like, I don't know. He just felt bigger. Maybe we're used to watching the Timberwolves play with a bunch of 6'10" dudes or higher or taller, excuse me. So Anthony Edwards doesn't look as imposing. He did, though. He looked bigger. He looked a little bit bigger. I don't know if it's just seeing him in a different jersey or that Jaren Jackson Jr. was the only other big next to him, right? He did. He looked big. There was this one move where it seemed he ended up missing the finish. I think he back rimmed it, but he kind of got to the left side of the paint and then just almost in slow motion, put him in a spin cycle and went up. Again, missed back rim, but he just looked really good. He looked athletic. He looked strong. So I'm pretty excited for Anthony Edwards. Yael Rodriguez says some of the good players of Puerto Rico did not play like Jose Alvarado. Yeah, I noticed that Jose didn't play. Were they missing anybody else? Yeah, and I mean, again, this is just a tune-up for these squads, right? I mean, it's not like anybody was. I mean, I'm sure, of course, they wanted to win. Of course, U.S. were favorites there. But it was more of a tune-up for what's to come later in the month when we get into the FIBA World Cup. A couple of things to note. There was only one DNP on the United States side of things, and that's bing bong, Josh Hart. Josh Hart did not enter the game. He was too busy selling NFTs. Walker Kessler got in, but it wasn't until garbage time. So, but Steve Kerr did his best to play everybody. They get such an interesting roster, the United States. They do feel pretty complete. Like, I don't think they've got multiple dudes that can take over the game. I don't know if they have that one killer, like that one person where that's where the ball's going every single time down the stretch. I guess you can make the case that it's Jalen Brunson on some games because he can kind of get to whatever spot he wants. You have Anthony Edwards and then Brandon Ingram. Those seem to be the buckets of the group. But hey, listen, they voted. The team voted, as we talked about yesterday. So Jaren Jackson Jr. might be that guy because he was voted the best player on the team. But it's fun to have. It got me pretty excited for some FIBA World Cup action. And I know it's not going to be available on playback, which is a bummer. But I'm looking forward to, I don't know, maybe it's just because we're in that dog days of summer where I don't really want to talk about baseball content because baseball has been hurting my bank account the last couple of weeks. And I'm excited to just have some basketball in my life. I think it's actually, I know the United States are favored, and then the odds have shifted it a little bit where it goes U.S., Canada, and then I think it's like France, Australia, and Slovenia, all kind of, and Serbia is still there too, all kind of like in that plus 800 to plus 1200 range. So it's like pretty jumbled after those two. So I'm looking forward to just having like a competitive FIBA World Cup just to get the juices flowing, get some national pride, or maybe I'm looking forward to Twitter's woke response to how Team USA does. That'll be fun. If they just cared a little bit more about the sports, then maybe they'd be getting more buckets instead of talking about equality. We're going to get a lot of those tweets. That'll be fun, especially if they lose their first game. I thought Australia was number one. Oh, yeah, that was a callback. Josh Hart loves the Knicks with all the Nova alum. Wait, what? Josh Hart loves the Knicks with all the Nova alum? Yeah. I don't know. That feels like it was weirdly worded. Waiting until he officially re-signs with the Knicks. Is that they didn't say that though, right? Are you just saying that? Or is that fact or fiction? 15 minutes in, and since we have a special guest coming here in like 15 minutes or so, let's get an ad read in, shall we? Our first break of the day. We'll be right back. Today's NBA bit is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy Sports. Whether you're drafting Luka first overall in best ball or fading Wemby blocks in the pick'ems, Underdog is where you'll find Team Hold. Sign up today at underdogfantasy.com or just click the link in the description to get started. And by signing up using promo code HOLD, HOLD, you will get a 100% deposit bonus match up to $100. That's a free honey. So sign up today using promo code HOLD, HOLD, and get started at underdogfantasy.com. Hi, welcome back. We did the ad read a little bit early, and here's why. I am a little bit behind on my coffee this morning because my morning was not thrown off, but we were put up some YouTube shorts today, had to do a little bit of homework this morning. So I needed that 30 seconds to just like straight, guzzle some coffee. So that's where we're at right now. That's it. There was no other basketball news that happened overnight. So it was just the FIBA action, and looking forward to some more of it. I have 80 trade tickets locked and loaded for today's NBA Top Shot Drop. For those that don't know, that will be happening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Is it Standard Time or is it Daily Time? I forget where we're at right now. But that'll be tonight at 8 o'clock. So NBA Top Shot announced last night around like 10 o'clock. They were like, bing, bong. They didn't do bing, bong. They said, we've added some moments. We've added some moments to the drop. So I'll go ahead and give you a little rundown of what that is. We can even share screen. Why don't we share screen for it? It's okay. Okay. People are fighting in the chat. Is it standard time? Is it daily time? All I know is I'm thinking about rent. 24th. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, here we go. This was the news that they dropped last night. Okay, too many tweets. All right, breaking news. Actually, well, let's do our break. No, we're not going to do it. Okay, breaking news. 8-8 just got more legendary. 21 additional Series 1 Lego moments were added. We have 672 additional Series 1 rare moments and 1633 more packs available. Let's see the updated drop roster. Let's go over to the drop roster, shall we? Shall we? Let's go see what we got over here. Yeah, UTC for the win. You know what, Mike? You're right. You're right. Let's give some international love. Every time I say international, I think of, was that Kanye song? International asshole. Anyways, okay. I just show me the feeling of feeling lonely. All right. I wish is there a filter on this? No, of course not. It's done alphabetically. That's lame as hell. What I wanted to check, there's some cosmics in here. All right, so they did do this with the legendaries. Let's just look at some Legos, shall we? So we get a Brooke Lopez, lace them up. That's of 75 that's in there. We get a Kobe White, lace them up. All right, I don't really care about the lace them ups. I do care, though. Okay, we got a hollow. DeAndre Ayton hollow. That's out of 50. That's fun. I want to see some Kazi's, though. We've got Harden from the top. We got a Jaylen Brown hollow. I'm interested in these hollows and cosmics. Ooh, Kendrick Nunn. Are you kidding me, bro? We got a Kristaps Porzingis, Langston Galloway, Markelle Fultz, lace him up. What else we got in here? PG, are you with me? Rajon Rondo, RJ Barrett hollow. Remember when those Knicks fans used to get hard for some of those? All right, it was Kanye. Thank you. I want to see, though, where are those Kazis? Oh, Victor Oladipo, currently on the Oklahoma City Thunder right now. I don't think he's going to be on that team very long. Oops, I didn't mean to click it. No. No. Let's go back. Okay, so Depot, that's our first Kaz. Ooh, okay, what is that it? That's it? No, wait, no, that can't be right. May be crazy, but it just may be a lunatic you're looking for. Wait, no, these aren't all the moments, though, are they? There's what is happening? Somebody help me. Oh, Oladipo's the only cosmic. Oh, rugged. I think the Legendary Series 1 finals are in there too. If anyone gets that number 1, please list it for 1K. All right, how dare you, Josh? How dare you, Josh? Okay. All right, I thought there was more. So is that it for rares and legendaries? I thought there would be more in there. Or maybe those are just the new ones that are added? No, that's a complete list of every moment inside these packs. Oh, because they're saying how many of those. Okay. All right, so you're really not going to get a Well, there's 3 Jonas Valanciunas lace them ups. There's 3 James Harden from the top. So we get a couple of 3s, mostly 1s. There you go. That's good to know. There are some good Legos in there. The Jalen Hollow TSC. Yeah, I already said the Jalen Hollow. So get the hell out of there with that Boston base, okay? Boston bias, more like it, all right? All right, so that's it. That's what we got for the drop today. That's exciting news. We brought this up yesterday. How do you think? Put it in the chat. I need some more chat engagement, okay? I need some more chat engagement. How do you think the market reacts to this? What do you think happens? Do you think we see a lot of movement early on? Do you think it's pretty quiet? Like, how do you think people engage with this on the in the marketplace soon after the drop? I want like instant reactions. What do you think happens like in the next day or so? In the meantime, I want to look at some other markets as well while we're here before our man LG joins. Series 1 is a $2 floor buy. Well, yeah, but there are some really garbage Series 1. It's going to be all right. Series 1 floor will drop, not much movement. Yeah, but do you think it's going to like aggressively, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you think this is just like a few days and it levels out and then there's a lot of buying? Do you think it's just but I'm just not going to do it, guys. And it feels good to not cave to the chat because I am the boss. Like I said earlier, I'm in charge today. I am in charge. You can't tell me what to do. All right, we're back. That was dicey there for a second. All right, so nobody really had any good thoughts. Everybody just said the same thing. Okay, that's fine. All right, Boston says not an aggressive one, but you have those guys that just sell the 10 Series 1 moments for best offer. That's true. Merkemai says 40 tickets ain't nothing. I don't think everyone will fire sale what they get. Okay, yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious to see what'll happen. I'm just excited it's going to be over. Although I do wonder, like, what everyone is going to complain about now. I mean, don't worry. I trust the community to find something, but I just wonder what everyone's going to complain about. I wanted to go over to So Rare for a little bit and just poke around here at some price points here for the limiteds. I want to see like some of superstars. I want to see what our man Jokic is at right now. And there we go. So 243 for that limited. Wow, that's the starting asking price. Wow. What about Giannis? Giannis, not Taji Gibson, 240. All right, so 240 for like the best of the best in the limited streets. Curious how that moves too once we see some series season year 2. I don't know what they're going to call it once those start dropping too. Yeah, I can't wait for basketball. I cannot wait. I want some fantasy basketball in my life. I want to create some lineups. I want live before lock. I want it all. Boston Bay says we have a chance of retiring Mets if I land a Lego. That's not wrong. As long as somebody who, as long as the whales don't get one. Oh, Mike said you sold your whole NBA gallery the other week. Okay, Mike, are you done? Okay, let me take a guess, Mike. Let me take a guess. You are in the football streets, aggressively a football street, big football fan. Football is about to start. They had all these announcements recently. NBA was just kind of secondary for you to pass the time. They announce all these things. You're like, what if I sold my NBA gallery so I can scoop a bunch of things? Is that what happened, Mike? Is that what happened? Who calls it a gallery? Literally everybody. Literally everybody in So Rare. It's called a gallery. Literally everybody, Boston based. That's my guess is what happened, Mike. Because I'll tell you what, that's what I'm doing with all my baseball cards right now. Well, I started doing it like last week. I'm just moving off all of them because I'm more excited about basketball. And that's what, baseball scratched an itch for a little bit. And then I was ready to run. Make it rain. Ryan says, I've been too focused on fantasy football these past weeks. Need to dive back into the So Rare Street soon. I know. I think a lot of people or us Americanos feel that way where it's, everybody's like locked in for football. And then once September starts, wake me up when, like there you go, some Green Day. I do think though, So Rare, I imagine So Rare NBA is going to have some announcements of what year 2 is going to look like, whether it's new contests, whether it's new rewards, whether it's new training, whether it's when ETH. We did get that announcement though, for those people who don't pay attention to the So Rare side of things. They did announce, and I already have it now. I got a Cash wallet, which means you can buy and sell in USD, in ETH, in whatever you want. Well, maybe not whatever you want, but a lot of different things. But also the rewards now are from that as well. So you can win cash. All right. Mike says pretty much yes, though I'm hoping to get back in again from scratch. I wasn't competitive once masses arrived on NBA. I love that you said masses arrived, that there was lots of people. I don't know if that is true, but I feel you. All right, here we go. Boston said, did you see the guy who vacuums up diamonds and golds from the cracks of New York City sidewalks? Made like $300 doing 12 hours of work, but still, I did not see anything about that. I feel like I've been pretty out on the New York news, which is kind of surprising since I live here. I've been finding out more New York shit from you guys than anybody else. Like somebody sent me the link of what was that influencer who did a giveaway of something, and then there was like a riot in New York. I had no idea. Oh, riot. I had no idea. Yeah, there are ETH rewards now. They haven't like officially announced what it's going to be, but they did say like in their roadmap that you'll be able to receive rewards via your cash wallet. So you'll be able to get it in USD or ETH. They're still doing the rewards. It's similar to what they did in baseball. Like ETH rewards came to baseball, which I won a couple of times, where you basically still get a card reward, and then they also give you like $10 or $15. If you're out, no, I have Giuliani's the one thing I've kept up with. That is crazy. Come here, those tits are mine, dude. That's crazy, dude. That is that's like for those that don't, I'm sure you've all seen it. I'm sure you've all seen it. But the quotes that came out about what Rudy was saying to somebody that worked for him, I mean, Just wild stuff. Wild stuff. You know what's so crazy about Rudy is that if he just like went the fuck away, he'd be remembered. He'd be on like Mount Rushmore of like United States politicians. Seriously. Like all he had to do was walk away after the disaster. Remember, he went up. Who did he play? He had that famous SNL sketch with Will Ferrell. I forget who he's doing. But man, like seriously, if he just went away, almost kind of like Rohan, you know what I mean? But if he just went away, like this would be, it's wild, wild. Yeah, Tesla says shout out to the dildo store where they did that interview. You know what would have been great, dude, is if for those if you guys watch Righteous Gemstone, if Adam Devine and Keith showed up in their truck and just like scooped up all the dildos, that would have been top tier, S tier comedy if they were able to do that. If they were able to do that. Adrian says inspiration. You're my inspiration. Yeah, just crazy stuff. We are living in, this in not real times. All right, LG should be joining us here in just a minute or two, and then we'll get cooking with what is the First Mint Do It, baby. They announced some really fun stuff with their little media pass. I shouldn't call it little. It might be big. I don't know physically. How big are things at Web3? So we're going to talk a little bit of that, and then I think we're going to talk some sports non-fungible tokens. As you saw, they tweeted out yesterday some of the stuff that's going on with like sales and stuff like that in this space. So that's exciting. Regulator said you come here for top tier comedy. There you go, Regulator. Well, I don't know if you're getting top tier. You're getting like B tier. Oh, there he is right now. He's going to be joining us here in just a second. Why don't we do one more little ad break here before we get out of here? We're not going anywhere. But before we move on to the next part of the show, Sneapset Association update. I'm not going to look it up again. But because you know what? It's been the same that it's always been. Worthless. All right, we'll be right back. We're going to do one more ad read here, and then our man LG is going to be joining the NBA Bit. See you in a minute. Today's NBA Bit is brought to you by So Rare. Daily fantasy sports is annoying. Constantly paying attention to injury news, who's starting, who's sitting, and just having to remember to enter your lineups each and every day. With So Rare, you just have to enter your lineup once for each game week. And instead of having to pay an entry fee each time you enter a contest, with So Rare, once you buy your cards, the tournaments are free. Each game week, you'll have a chance to win more card rewards to bolster up your roster. And this year, So Rare is introducing cash prizes. So sign up for So Rare today using the link in the description, and they'll start you with 20 free common cards. And by using our link, once you buy 5 cards from auction, they'll give you a 6th one free. So sign up for So Rare today and see if you can take down Mike Sorarian. Oh, what's up, everybody? We're going to welcome LG Doucet to the stream. LG, what's going on, man?
Oh, my God.
Dude,
You
nice
always
and
do that. I
early
forget
that-
that you do that every time I come on, that you make fun of the line that I don't even say on the show anymore. I'm glad that stuck with people. What's up, everybody? It's LG Doucet. I'm glad that stuck with people.
It was
years later.
I mean, it's the best. It is the best. What I loved about it is I only did it. So normally, actually, on Tuesday nights, I have like an in real life event. My voice is always dead and a little hungover on Wednesdays. So whenever I sounded like garbage, because my voice would go deeper, then I could do it. So anytime I was hungover or didn't have a voice, so that's how I would start the show, because that's the only way I can get to your level of bass, Well, appreciate you getting up early today, man.
Yeah, of course, man. Thanks for having me. Am I delayed at all? Is there a delay?
There was for a second, but I think we're back.
Okay, I'll just let it'll catch up. It usually just catches up. But dude, yeah, good to chat with you, man. I feel like I haven't been on the show in quite a bit, although I can't remember the last time it was. It's early. I'm just gonna tell you right now too, it's early. I am usually up at this time, but not usually having to perform to present in some kind of way, but here I am.
There was, when I was still like working part-time, started doing this show, there was a couple of times where because it felt important to do this show every day, where I would do the show at like 6:30 just so it was up before I left for the day. And
Mhm.
those were just some of the worst days. So being up at 6:30 and then having a camera on and lights on are bad. So I I appreciate you doing it.
No. Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. You know, a lot of respect to people that are like, I don't know. I guess, you know, people on the radio is different because they're not actually like live. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's a lot. I feel like it'd be a lot easier, but the part where there's like a camera like pointed at you is a little extreme. But
That early.
dude, how's your summer been? How's summer been at Team Hold? How'd you guys do since your summer league excursion? What's been going on?
So the summer league experience is great, man. We had a really good time out there. It was kind of fun. It felt so like the first year we did it like Wild West. We didn't really know what we were doing. People just showing up,
Mm,
Top Shot still booming, everybody's fun, right? Last year our trip was more tied in with Top Shot, and then
mm,
this year it was just kind of like Team Hold was doing their own thing, like our own events, and like yeah, sure, we saw some Top Shot people there, we saw some So Rare people there, but it was kind of cool to like
right.
have felt more of like our own thing that we were in control of. So it's pretty good. We had a really good time. I'm still tired from Vegas. I think I was there too long. Um, but yeah, it was good. Summer's been good, man. Summer's been good. I'm kind of it's that time now where like nothing's going on, and I'm
Mm.
ready for something to happen so that we have stuff to talk about instead of fighting through continuing to do content with not a lot going on. But what about you, man? I'm excited. You guys, we've talked about this offline before it like came to fruition, but you had a fun little announcement today, and it seems like oh not today, last week, but it seems like first mint. We got a night we're cooking this fall, huh?
Yeah, for sure, man. So, yeah, we have released something called the Media Pass Season One, which is what Thanks for having me on to talk about it.
Mm.
But I think it's something that I think. Did you claim one? You claimed one, right?
Yeah,
You
I got
have
one.
one? Did you get one?
Yeah,
Yeah, you have one.
yeah,
Okay, so yeah, because everybody who was a first mint holder, that wanted one got one. I didn't want to just airdrop them to just some wallets that are like totally dormant that we never hear from. I only wanted it to be like our active community members. But
yeah.
basically, um, what I wanted to do was reboot there's a lot of different things, but the main thing I wanted to do was like I wanted to reboot our live show,
Hmm.
but not do it in a way where when we used to do a live show, there was a lot of like content on the table, right? You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of especially around like Top Shot. There's always something to talk
Right.
about. There's like a million different personalities, let's call it, that were always willing to come on the show. It was like people had a huge appetite for that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying that they don't anymore, but I think what we wanted to do was to create something like a little bit more purposeful in terms of what the live streaming was going to look like. And so, appropriate to the fall season, we called it a season, and we're going to have like 15 weeks of shows that are going to be Wednesday nights. I think snuggling in right before when you guys did Shot Tank. I don't know if you're doing Shot Tank anymore. So if that overlaps at all,
I
it's,
won't.
it's not it's
Well,
not
it won't.
okay. All right, cool. All right. Anyways, and the part where it's very different than what we've done in the past for live streaming is that every single person who has one of our passes basically gets to make at least one decision that's part of the show. Not like the whole crowd makes a decision, like things are being upvoted, but more so like every single person gets a pass, and the passes like are going to reveal next week two different choices when it comes to like guests or like what I call experiences, right? So
Yeah.
each show in the live show is season one is going to be a different type of show. Okay, it's not none of the shows are just like, hey, it's me and Phil, and then there's random guests on the air, and we just chat with them and whatever and open packs. Like it's not like that at all. Each show, like one show will be like an actual like trivia competition. Another one will be like a Shark Tank kind of thing, like pitch style show. And the only way for people to get on the show on any of these shows is to redeem a pass that is tied to that show. So there'll be like a pass that's like you get to come pitch your project on air with us.
Yeah.
And you can get that and you can redeem it and then you come on. But that's a Pandora's box because anybody can redeem it. I don't choose, right? It's like
Right.
say your pass reveals to like a pitch one, you can go give it to the most random person that you want who has a weird project and they can come on the air.
Yeah, I love. So
Yeah.
I wanted to peel this back a little bit because I feel like you've been
Yeah.
tweeting about stuff around this for the last like couple of months, and
Mhm.
I feel like you're diving into like what does community slash content look like in this space. And kind because I think a lot of it, a lot of the content that was created, not just about Top Shot, but just like Web3 shit in general, was like, here's what this thing is worth now. What will it be worth in a month? Right. I think a lot of it was like, and we could say there were other stuff involved, but a lot of it had to do with like what prices of stuff were. And I feel like this
Speculation.
is, yeah, speculation. That's probably a cleaner way to say it. But I think like what you've been, again, like tweeting about it. But I think that this is what this project is doing a little bit that I think is cool is just, I don't know, messing with the content and content slash community space a little bit and trying different things to, again, I don't know, just like bolster this. I feel like stuff like this makes the space have more of a chance of longevity, if that makes sense.
Wow, that is the nicest thing I think anybody could have said about the project by far. That it's an actual like use case, I think is what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, I think that was the intent, and I'll give you a bit of a deeper thinking too. Is that I'm not particularly fond of like how DAOs are set up, right? Everybody like really wants to push this idea of DAOs of like this whole group of people makes a decision, but to me, like any experience I've had there, it doesn't really work. Like you can't really put like, especially like think bigger DAOs. Like I can't remember the last time ever in human history that you've just given decisions over to like a group of 20,000 people with no appointed leaders, and then they've made efficient, good decisions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I just don't think that that's necessarily possible. And most
Yeah.
DAOs I've been in, it's like it ends up being a handful of people who put proposals together and then have to work really hard to spread the word for people to come and vote on it so they can get quorum so it can go through. So rather than, I really wanted to like involve our community in the decision-making process of creating like a fun new piece of content. But rather than being like, okay, everybody, let's all vote together. Everybody you come up with the idea for my show. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be like, okay, every single person is going to get a pass. That pass is going to reveal, and they get to make a decision. It's a very specific decision what that is. And the decision is, they can call their own number for the pass that they get. They can sell it. They can trade it with somebody else and get something back that they want. They can hoard them with other people and do something completely different, like totally take over the roster of an episode or something like that, right? So that was kind of the idea. And there's also it's not just the passes aren't just things like, hey, come on the show and compete. It's also things like you get to write a tweet on First Mint, and it could be whatever you want. And like that's the kind of stuff I'm like, you know what, I think that somebody is going to want that. And even if it's like if it reveals and they get it, they can write whatever they want. If somebody wants to buy that for like, I don't know, $5 on this secondary, I don't know if that's how much it's going to be. Maybe it'll be more, maybe it'll be less, I don't know. But they can, right?
Well,
And
and
that's something
that's
that
what I think.
currently, yeah, go ahead.
No, I think what I kind of like about it, and I hope this doesn't I hope you take this as a positive thing, but the stakes feel like lower for the people participating, if that makes sense. This doesn't feel like high stakes decisions of like, am I going to grab a media pass, or like this feels more of, again, I like think back to my like educational background, like this is just straight up community building stuff. This is, you are giving people feeling to feel more emotionally connected slash invested, not really like financially invested. Like there's nothing about this, and maybe you disagree, but there's nothing about this to me that is like, oh, this is to get some revenue in. Like this really feels like we've created a thing that gives our community, it's almost like a wink nod to our community, like, hey, we want you to be a little bit more involved. This is the thing to be like, hey, the First Minute's doing this thing together. We want you to participate. Here's a way to feel like connected to what we're doing. Is that like where you're like seeing this?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like I see it like absolutely. Like I didn't want these, we're not selling these, right? Like we're not making any money on these. Although I did set the OpenSea royalty to 2.5%.
There you go.
That's
Ship
right.
it.
Yeah, if people trade these like crazy, we're gonna be rich. But that's not, I don't think that's gonna happen. Yeah, we're not selling these. Like it's just something where it's like, we're at a downtime in NFTs. There's only so much going around to talk about. And rather than trying to kind of like, okay, let's keep making, like, let's bring back the live show and try and find like NFT content to talk about. Let's make NFTs that become the content themselves, right?
Yeah.
So that, I think, is kind of like the twist that we want to throw into this. And then there's also like outside of that, there's also outside of it just being like, hey, you can put your tweet up. There's also some like funny rewards as well, such as like you can there's like two of these or something like that, where you can redeem them for a private Zoom dinner with me and Phil, where I'll like DoorDash or like Uber Eats some food to your house. And I don't know. I was like, I don't know if anybody wants that, but if somebody does, it's there.
Yeah.
And they can get it, So I thought that was kind of funny. But they're split into 3 buckets, where one is like rewards, so it's like merch or like a private Zoom dinner. The other one is called Hype Man, which is like, they're all promotional things. And they're all promotional things that we typically would charge brands to do, right?
Right.
Not much demand these days, which is normal, I think, for everybody. But it's like something like writing a tweet on First Mint, like when companies are like, when we've done advertising partners in the past, and they're like, okay, we want you to write a thread for us. We want you to write some tweets. It's like, those are itemized and they cost money. You know what I mean?
Right.
So now it's like that definitely, you could argue that has value. And also now, instead of, me going through my DMs and there's all these very bizarre companies or people who want me to promote their very strange projects that do not fit First Mint at all, that's out of my hands now. And what I can do is I can DM those people back and be like, listen, I'm not going to do it, but you can go get one on the secondary market from one of our community members, or just message them, and maybe maybe you can come on the show, or maybe you can buy like 5 tweet ones and you get to tweet whatever you want. I don't know. It's up to you. Right. So
no, I like it. And again, to like go to the content side of things, I'm just excited to see people trying different stuff, like because now is the time to try different stuff. And with with just like vibes being a little bit off, I think now is the time to mess around and try some stuff. And it's just different. I feel like everybody's doing the same damn thing, like myself included. And I think the key to being successful in doing a lot of these shows, or doing any sort of like content, is not necessarily how charismatic and engaging and smart and passionate you are about this, but being able to find ways that other people feel like they are part of the show, And I think that's why we've done, some might say we've done well, some might say we haven't, but I think people feel like they're part of the show. It's like part of their routine that they have to come and say mean things to me in the chat, and then I shared them. Although, speaking of, Boston Bay said he sent $2 and says 5 beers in 5 minutes, LG, go. I think it's gonna have to be more than $2, Boston Bay.
That maybe 20 years ago, man. Maybe 20 years ago. maybe
but
a long time ago.
But that's why I think this is great. Like, and whether thousands of people tune in, or whether it's like your core 80 to 100 that tune in, I think that's why this stuff will matter. And that's why I'm like excited to see how it goes and how people react to it.
Oh, I don't care if it's small or huge, man. Like, I just want us and our community and the people who like follow us and listen to us. Like, I just want us to have like our own weird little night of the week every week, where we have a lot of fun. And the other thing, Mike, I don't think I've told you this, I only mentioned on the podcast yesterday for the first time, is that each episode is actually only an hour long. So which is short, considering how long our podcast is, how long our live shows used to be. So and as you know, a 1 hour slot alone is a long time, or can feel like a long time. You do a great job of making it seem like not a long time. But a 1 hour slot with multiple guests goes by super fast, because by the time you get people up and you're chatting with them, it's like time melts away. And especially when you're trying to do like a trivia or some kind of game, it's like things just, you know what I mean? So these are going to be, again, kind of more like a TV episode. These are going to be fast, right? And like, that's kind of the point. I also want to point out to this, I just want to say something about this 5 beers in 5 minutes from Boston. That, we've had already, without even revealing, because we haven't revealed what these experiences are yet, only I've just given hints. We've gotten a lot of suggestions already from people of like funny, like even some of them are jokes like that, but others are like jokes half serious and stuff that we might consider if there's a season 2, right? Which would be fun. But most of the suggestions aren't things like, hey, somebody can write a tweet. Most of
Yeah.
them are things like how me and Phil should be tortured in different ways. Like
Yeah.
most of them are just like people just want to see me and Phil do some kind of terrible challenge.
Yeah. Uncomfortable
Like
pain.
that's clearly the community's desire is for us to have to go through some kind of like gauntlet.
Yeah.
Or things like eat too much pizza or like just crazy shit like that. So I don't know what that means. I don't know how to respond to that, but it is what it is. People want to see us dance.
And so,
Maybe we will.
just for like, as we pivot a little bit to talk about a little bit of other stuff, all of the media passes are out right now, right? It's for the community members of the First Mint that like the day one holders and who were able to claim. And so if somebody outside of the community or someone that doesn't have one right now wanted to get involved, this is something they'd have to cozy up to somebody that's currently a media pass holder. Is that right?
They would. There are. Yes, they'd have to. You could go on OpenSea and like make an offer if you want. So you can put like a collection offer, and the NFTs are on Polygon. So doing a transaction for one should cost you like less than a cent, right? So they're not on ETH mainnet. They're on Polygon. So if you are comfortable in that ecosystem, like using MetaMask and stuff like that, it's pretty easy to get one or to go and make an offer for one. I think, I mean, again, I don't, having not sold the collection or anything like that, I think it's hard for me to speculate, and I don't want to infuse what I think into people's behaviors or whatever. But I think when they reveal and people get a sense of like what everything is, and a lot of our holders know what they have and know what they want once they kind of see like the full list of what's available, which we'll put out once they reveal. Then I think that's to me is like where the fun really starts, is even before the shows begin, is that it's like, okay, well, what do people actually want? You know what I mean? Like, what do you want? What do people not want? Like, what are people just going to be like, oh, like a Zoom dinner, fucking floor it, like what? Like, sell that, get that out of here. I'll sell it for $1. Like, what do people just not want at all? And what if people are like, oh, I really, really need this thing, right? So I think that's where, once we have the full list, I think that's where it'll be a little bit more interesting. So for anybody who's not a day one holder, who doesn't have one, I'd say keep an eye out on it for maybe like a week. Today is probably when we'll reveal them. We'll post it on Twitter. Mike, you're going to get one anyway, so hopefully you'll take a look at it, maybe live on your show, and think about what you want. Or anybody else who holds one. I saw Ryan in the chat there who already has one, was able to acquire one. Yeah, and clearly wishes he could redeem his for us doing a TikTok dance.
Well, dude, I'm excited about this. I really am. Like, even just as I obviously root for you guys, but even just as a content creator, I'm just excited people to do some different stuff. And I think this is such a unique idea that like speaks to like everybody's like, oh, community, I get it, but this speaks to what that is. And I like whether it pops or whether it just stays within like your tight community. I think this is such a cool idea. And so we had a 15-week season one, which is that was a good decision, by the way, instead of just like letting it go until whenever. You're like, we have 15 weeks, then we can see what we liked, what we didn't like. We can shut this down and never do it again, or we can reboot it. I think that was smart.
Oh yeah.
But when is it? This is starting in the fall, in September?
It's August 23rd. So it's 2 weeks tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we start pretty early. We finished November 29th. So 15 weeks, different shows, and at a good time, right? Because we have similar communities. We talk about sports, all that kind of stuff. So it's at a time where I think people are kind of tuning back in, right? I think a lot of our community has been away on summer break. Kids are going to go back to school. Football starting, basketball starting. Like it's a good time to kind of be back in our weird little online sports communities. So that's I think where there's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of kind of action going on. So
nice.
Who knows?
I'm excited.
Who knows what's going to happen? I don't know. I don't even know what's going to happen.
And it's going to be on your YouTube channel, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
It's
cool.
going to be on the YouTube channel, and if people want to read about it, we put out a newsletter last week. I'm just going to put this. Can I put this in the chat? I'll have to connect my YouTube. My YouTube is connected. Here we go. Hold on.
I can share a link to it too. I can put it in the chat.
Yeah. Okay. If you can share.
Yeah.
Actually, no,
Or
I'm in.
I'll link
I'm
it
in.
in the show notes too after the show.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, for anybody else who wants to check it out. Yeah, I'd say right now it's probably better to just kind of, here we go. Yeah, just take a look at I just posted it, but just take a look at the blog post. And yeah, always open to feedback too, right? Because this is a bit of an experiment. So, thanks Mike, thanks a lot for the positivity, because I thought about this for a really long time before putting it out. So people like you saying they like it and they think it's different and interesting, it means a lot.
Yeah, man.
But I'm just saying for people to read and to give us any feedback as well, because we are definitely like trying to do something that's different, right? And push what like Web3 media is supposed to be, because I realize that we don't do anything with NFTs, right? Besides having our closed community, but outside of that, we don't really like do anything regularly. So this is the first step into that, and to try and push that medium a little bit.
Yeah, I'm excited. Everybody go check it out when it launches. We'll talk about it more too. We'll share it. I've seen Weisberg in the chat too, saying that Steph Curry apparently sang Paramore last night. Weisberg, listen, when you are done, go back to the top of this show, because we opened the show with the video of Steph singing with Paramore. So go back and check that out. LG, so you were tweeting a lot too, or maybe from the first minute about, I think it was yesterday or the day before, about all like just basically sports NFT sales in general, and how like clearly it seemed like so rare soccer kind of in a league of its own right now, and then NBA Top Shot kind of like in a clear second. They had like a 7 million gap, and then it was kind of like NFL All Day, so rare NBA, all of those kind of like fall in pretty closely. Did any like sort of, I don't know, like big picture takeaways from seeing some of that stuff, or just kind of like what you've, I don't know. I'd love to. I know that we didn't really talk about this beforehand, but just to put you on the spot a little bit about that info.
Kind of looking at it now, I wish I did. What's funny is Crypto Slam does have rainmakers now. They didn't before have rainmakers, but I'm still not sure if that's primary and secondary sales or just secondary sales. So I got to check with them on what that is. I know people are complaining about Panini in that chart, and I agree. I think we should just take it out, because I think it does include a lot of primary sales from their website. It might actually include like card sales. So I think we're just going to do Panini, and I don't know. I don't know anybody who really follows Panini NFTs. People in the chat, don't be offended. Don't at me. Don't get something.
I know who's following Panini is Fanatics right now.
Oh, are they really? Are they trying to buy Panini? Is that what they're doing?
I thought there was a lawsuit. I think they're suing.
Oh,
Panini,
is there a lawsuit?
Okay, I think so. I think that was announced yesterday. And now I'm nervous I got that wrong. But anyways.
So takeaways. Well, I don't know. Like soccer, I was actually really happy that I was able to break out for that half a year, like secondary volume for each so rare title, because I think it's always really hard when they're all lumped together like that on Crypto Slam. So so rare tools, the guy there has been very helpful in helping me sort through the data and get it all together. I think the biggest takeaway for so rare soccer to me is that that's where people can make the most money, right? They've had ETH rewards for the longest time, so I think and they've been around for a long time. So I think naturally that's where there's going to be a lot of secondary volume. I don't know what their total like weekly prize pool is like for soccer, but I'm assuming it's way more than it is for MLB or for any of these other things, right? None of these other things other than MLB offer actual like cash rewards. And now with on So Rare, they're also going to have a cash wallet, all that kind of shit, right? So to me, it's like So Rare Soccer is almost like a completely different beast, because it's been around for so long and they've been giving money away for so long.
Right.
So I think it's kind of hard to obviously none of these are apples to apples. Top Shot was 16 million in the first half. And the next closest being NFL All Day at like almost 9.9 million. Like that to me, I think it's really hard to contextualize those numbers, because if you compare them year over year, it's not comparable, right? But that's obviously we both talked at length as to whether it's the platform's fault or it's the market's fault or it's both, or it's of course the community. fault. Maybe it's our fault.
It's the community's fault.
So yeah, but I think to me what was most interesting is actually the gap between SoRare NBA and Candy, because SoRare NBA doing 8.1 million, and then the next after that is Candy at like 1.7. So to me, like there's in terms of things that are like moderately successful in terms of secondary volume, SoRare NBA, NFL All Day, Top Shot, all between like 8 and 16 million. And then the next closest after that is below 2. And the rest kind of trail off below that. And that's only secondary volume. Something like NFL Rivals is not, they only just launched, and they don't necessarily, their goal is not necessarily secondary volume, right? They probably sell a lot on primary. And also I've played it and I've just used the freemium model. I've never bought a pack there. So, that's not really the same, but, I don't know. What did you think? What did you think of the users? Was maybe interesting. Total buyers, let's call it.
Oh, like you said, I was pretty surprised by Candy because I think like if you zoom out and see the like decisions Candy makes in real time, like the tweaks to the product and supply and circulation, all that stuff, I feel like they're on top of things. But they just don't have a user base. So I was surprised to see that number be as low as it was, because I do think they're one of the better like run places. The SoRare NBA and MLB stuff I found, or MLB specifically, I found interesting because SoRare NBA, that was its first season, so you figure you see a little bit more buying, and SoRare MLB really didn't have a ton of run up, and that included the start of the new season, right? That came into so what I thought was interesting was like, are people on the SoRare MLB and NBA side of things, did they buy a bunch of stuff that first year and are just like, oh, I've got my roster, so I don't really need to do a lot of buying now? So and SoRare NBA did announce that they're going to be doing cash rewards here for this upcoming season. So now I'm really interested to see like what that looks like a year from now. And if we see more, or if it's just like, nah, this is actually what the user base is for NBA and MLB. There's just way more soccer fans. And it's like you said, it's been around for years versus the NBA and MLB, which has just gotten here,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think for MLB, I think for NBA on SoRare, there was already a good pool of participants available. And I think they did a good job in partnering with people like you, right? Where it's like, all right, this guy's got a big following of people that may or may not still be into NBA Top Shot, but either way, they are NBA fans. They're ready to do NFT things. And their launch, I thought everything about their NBA launch last year was like first class, like that launch video with Jay Williams was awesome. Like the graphics, like the production was great. The affiliates with you and everybody else they got some huge names, you know what I mean? Like that they were promoting with. And I thought that was like super well done, right? And for MLB, I didn't really get that same sense this year. Like, they brought John Nellis over to like hang out with like who are there guys like Juan Soto,
Julio Rodriguez. I think I thought they all came out great. But it felt like they were advertising towards the soccer community by using Nellis, who I love. I love John Nellis. I think he makes an awesome baseball fan that sees this guy and they're like, oh, yeah, I gotta, so I was surprised by that decision. But listen, if they want to use me for any basketball related stuff like that, I agree with the decision that they made with John Nellis, and that they should use me next.
Well, the thing too is that the NBA is more of an international sport, right? It's like if SoRare, that's a good point. If SoRare already had the big soccer base in Europe, right, and that's where most of their people were, then there's already really good European basketball players. You know what I mean? They're several MVPs are European, right? Like it's not hard to go, you don't have to go very far to find some kind of NBA fan in Europe, right? Like it's not that stretch. But finding MLB fans in Europe,
it's a little bit harder.
You know what I mean? And it's a completely different sport. It's like NBA, like people will play basketball growing up in Europe at some point or another, right? I'm sure it's something that I'm sure there's basketball courts, there's a basketball hoop in the gyms of the schools, right? But something like I don't know if there's baseball diamonds in little villages in France. So I don't think there's really, and there's like, oh, who's the most famous baseball star? It's like, well, there's some Japanese guy that speaks English, and On
Yeah,
a bad
Ohtani, that's it.
like, all right, well, it's very uncompelling right now.
Yeah.
So
No, that's a good point. That's a good
yeah.
point. We'll close with this too, and then we'll get us out of here because I guess Top Shot tweeted out some stuff which kind of links to what we're saying. Almost 6,000 users with 40 plus
Ooh.
trade tickets, which I think that's a pretty high number. That is, that's a little bit higher than I thought we would see. That's good because it means they're burning a ton of moments to do this drop tonight. But that's also just like 6,000 people that are active, which I think if you told me that 2 months ago, I don't think I would have believed you. So, and that kind of lines up with the number that you were seeing where they're like clearly in second. It does seem like it's gotten a little healthier. I still, will still bang the drum for all the things that I've banged the drum for in the last 3 years. But
I had a theory for you that I discussed on the show yesterday about the great unlocking.
Yeah.
I think it's a year ago, like this week, that most people locked their moments and not a couple weeks. And I think it was because they announced a locking, they were like team leaderboards are coming, but I think it's this week where they said the tiers of team leaderboards that was like top 1,500, top 500, top 250. And I think that's why this drop is planned today strategically to be like, okay, this is everybody's going to want this. There's LeBron debuts, there's hollows. Like this is the juiciest trade ticket drop there's going to be in a long time. So trying to eradicate as much extra supply as possible for what I think is the true great unlocking, which is at least the highest. Like if you have the chart like this of the days where people lock the most, I think the day that people lock the most, or the 2 or 3 days, is the end of this week.
It's funny. That's what I didn't connect it with today's drop, which is great. But that's what I was saying a couple weeks ago, where everybody was like, oh my God, this is just like Y2K. And I was like, all right, you guys are smart enough to know that not everybody locked. Only the idiots locked all of their moments on the first day. Okay. Everybody else like waited till they got a little bit more information before they locked immediately. And so I think that's a great point that they were like, oh, and they didn't tell us that. They were just like, yeah, we don't need to there's no incentive for you to unlock yet. And then they're like, oh, by the way, here comes this big drop. Here's some cosmics. That's great,
dude. I think so 100%, because I was even looking at my moments and I had locked a few initially, but I have a ton unlocking like Thursday, and they're all Raptor ones. And I was like, oh, why did I lock these on like August 10th or whatever? And I was like, that's probably right after they announced like the actual leaderboard, like rewards and cutoffs and all that kind of stuff, right? So it's that's probably when they saw more action. So anyways, but I think that's very clever. And I think, I'm not saying it, I don't think it's a nefarious or anything like that.
No. That's smart. They should be doing stuff like that.
Yeah. And even changing the mint count number on the moments, right? That changed now from 60,000 to whatever the actual number is. I think that's also strategic with the great unlocking.
I loved people getting mad about that. That was my favorite. Oh, it doesn't look right now. It's like, all right, you're like, who cares, dude? Who cares?
With the number that you have, your serial being higher than the actual number.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, that's what devalued it. Dude, if it's a thing out of 60,000, my friend, it does not matter. But LG, I don't want to take up any more of your time. Dude, I appreciate you getting up early and doing this, man. I'm excited. I'll have everything linked in the show notes too, but excited to see the first the first media pass season. And we'll have to we should make a point to have you back on like mid season and talk about how it's been going and what's been working, because I'm excited for it, man.
And dude, you're part of it. You have a media pass. You're gonna get something in there, right? So who knows what you're gonna get.
Well, what I'm gonna do the time that I come on or whatever I do with it is I will schedule a show for right after, and I'll do like a live debriefing.
Awesome. I love that, man. Dude, thanks for having me on. And thanks to everybody in the chat for the I don't know. I don't want to say I wouldn't call them kind words, but people seem to understand and somewhat enjoy and give interesting ideas for what it could be in the future.
Dude, in this space, understanding is kind words, guys. So that is kind words.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, thanks for coming on, man. And for everybody else, reminder, no NBA bit tomorrow. We'll have a So Rare video, I think, drop either Wednesday or Thursday, but the NBA bit will be back on Thursday. So that way I don't do a show tomorrow and start the show with, "Ooh, what's up, everybody?" But hope everybody has a good rest of the day, and we will catch you later. We out.